services inflation, because that is clearly the component of prices that requires very attentive understanding, monitoring, and I'll come to that in a second. But suffice to say that it went up from 4.2 to 4.4. So whereas so many other components are on a declining path, that particular segment is increasing. And we've tried to decompose what is behind it, and it's a combination of holiday packages, insurance, and I'm trying to remember what is the third one. I'll come back I'm sure it will come back, but it's predominantly these two. We are looking attentively to the nexus of three elements. Number one, wages. Number two, profits. Number three, productivity. And services is particularly sensitive to wage increases. So our expectations is that services inflation will decline over the course of 25. Why? Because what staff had anticipated, which is moderation of wages growth, buffering of wages cost by slightly declining profit, and increase of productivity is actually being demonstrated by numbers, by observations. If you look at wages, whether you look at compensation per employee, whether you look at negotiated wages, whether you look at unit labor cost, all of that is going down. Wage tracker, same thing. And our expectations is that it will continue to go down in the course of 25. We will, on negotiated wages, we will still have relatively high numbers, and we know that some are in the making at the moment. The auto workers unions, the IG Metall request, and in various other countries, but with some heterogeneity, will continue to move wages higher in the first half of 25, but then it's definitely on a decline path. It is already the growth is on a declining path, but it will pick up again in the latter part of 24, very early in 25, and then it will continue to decline. And the numbers that we have for growth in wages, I will share with you. I've got my unit profit growth. So I'll give you the number later if you're interested, but it is definitely declining. That's on the wages. On profit, we are now observing from high numbers that we had at the end of 20 up until the end of 23, we are seeing declining numbers on profits. And as a result of that, you can obviously deduct that profits are actually buffering and absorbing some of these labor cost increases. On productivity, it is also on a declining path, moderate and not it's on an increasing path, as considered and envisaged by staff, a little less than what they had projected, but it's also heading in the right direction. So that really confirms the views that they had taken initially, and that has given us confidence that services will move downward as well, that wages growing moderately and more moderately now, profit absorbing more wages, and productivity increasing a little bit by virtue of, cyclicality, will lead us to having services prices less than where they are at the moment. But it's obviously a sector that is, as I said, which is resistant and on which we have to be very attentive. You had a second question, if I remember, and I'm trying to... Oh, yeah. You know, Mario Draghi's report includes so many important structural reforms that are going to be the responsibility of governments, that will require the leadership of the Commission and the leadership of those leaders in Europe who are determined to strengthen Europe, to give it more sovereignty, to give it more capacity in the current geopolitical circumstances, that I'm really certain that monetary policy will do what it has to do, which is to provide price stability and to deliver on its mandate, while structural reforms are not the responsibility of a central bank. They are the responsibility of the governments.